In order to change a behavior, you have to rewire that circuit and encode a better circuit. The thought of those higher purposes activates reward chemicals that are better than chips, because chips only last a few minutes. But that higher purpose that's now embedded in your amygdala is with you all the time.
We just had a doctor on this podcast talk about our metabolic health, and she would say that there's so many reasons that we are in this epidemic of obesity right now. But one of them is that ultra-processed foods exist in far greater amounts in the world than they have at any time in history. And these mess with all of our neurochemicals. How does that sit with EBT?
It's very simple. The science is that there is a stress triangle in the brain. And what that means is if you turn off those wires that make you overeat, those chemicals that are driving you to overeat, I could be sitting here with you in a room filled with cakes and cookies and chips, and I could care less.
Even if those cakes and cookies and chips are literally engineered to mess with those neurochemicals.
Exactly. Would you like to know why?
Yes, tell me why.
There's something called survival circuits in the brain. They're the ones that we attack first with emotional brain training, because they're the ones that essentially combine a fight or flight drive and the chips. So when I woke up that next morning after eating those cinnamon rolls, I began to have a fight or flight drive biochemically to eat those foods. So I was instantly rewarded by the dopamine from the foods. So in order to change a behavior, you have to rewire that circuit and encode a better circuit, a circuit that will reward you anymore. Nobody stops eating, drinking, spending, whatever it is, unless they have a better choice. And that choice is in your unconscious mind. We use this skill in EBT called the cycle tool. It is the powerhouse of changing people's brains, and it's very simple but very deep. I would do what your mother probably told you not to do. I would complain about the fact that I was overeating. And then I would express emotions, angry, sad, afraid, guilt in a certain way. And what happens here, I'm complaining with my thinking brain, but the problem's in my emotional brain, in my amygdala. So it would essentially unlock, by expressing emotions in that way, really for 1 minute or 2 minutes, it essentially opens the circuit. And the circuit includes a drive, like a message that says, like, I get my safety or my power or my protection or whatever it is, something, a basic need, existence, from stuffing myself with sugar. And that is telling me that, and those chemicals are driving me. And so, of course, I'm going to have the chips right there, okay? Because I'm being immediately rewarded externally by the chips, and then biochemically I'm driven. So I find the exact words, and it has to be the exact words. Now, all of us think about what is causing me to overeat, and we have ideas and insights. Those insights plus 5 cents give you a nickel. They're worth nothing, because the real message is in the unconscious mind. And what EBT does is allow you to very quickly find out what your unconscious mind is telling you. And once you have that exact words, like this one woman recently was saying, I get my mothering from stuffing myself with food until I feel complete. Whatever those words are, they're different than what you really think your issue is. Once you have those words, they're magical, because all you do is confront them with the opposite, the healthy opposite. I cannot get my mothering or whatever it is from stuffing myself with food. You change it into a circuit of higher purpose. I can get my mothering or safety or power or whatever from connecting to the deepest part of me. This is an emotional and spiritual experience, the deepest part of me. And in that state, you are in perfect biochemistry. All of those 8 chemicals are not being activated. And so the drive goes away. And I'm going to do it for higher purpose. Once you do it for higher purpose, and the 7 purposes within EBT are sanctuary, which is peace and power from within, authenticity, vibrancy, integrity, intimacy, spirituality, and freedom, the thought of those higher purposes activates reward chemicals that are better than chips, because chips only last a few minutes, maybe an hour. But that higher purpose that's now embedded in your amygdala is with you all the time. And so you look at the chips and you say, I don't think so. I don't want that. Not that you're depriving yourself, but you're being chemically affected, turning off those 8 chemicals and giving yourself that dopamine and that endorphins from higher purpose. And you don't want it. In fact, you think it's rather revolting. So with EBT, you never try to not eat the chips. If you want chips, have them. You're going to have them anyway. At least I would. What you do is you focus on using these emotional tools to demolish that circuit. And you have proof that you've demolished it when all of a sudden you go to the refrigerator and you're sure you're going to get the ice cream. Maybe you go to the freezer, or maybe you go and have some leftover pizza and you open the refrigerator door. That's what she did. I opened the door and I looked in and I thought, that's weird. I don't even want it. And that gives you evidence that you have security. You've gone to the root cause of the problem because the circuit is gone.